Hi, this is Cheryl back with you from Farmhouse Frugally. Today I have several spring thrift flips for you, starting with this little covered box that I actually got at the dump on the good table. It was evidently some kind of a teddy bear or something that was in it for an infant, and I thought that it would make a nice little decoration. I thought that we would go ahead and take this one and just give it a couple of coats of linen white chalk paint to start, to give it a good base coat. And the nice thing about paper, cardboard, is that it's obviously a great surface for chalk paint. You could obviously spray paint this or use any kind of paint that you want. I just like the matte finish on the chalk paint and how quickly it dries so that I can move on. So once I got 2 coats of the linen white chalk paint on both the bottom and the top, I'll be covering that word anyway, so that doesn't matter that it's raised. But otherwise, if you can, you might have to sand that off or add another layer of paper or something on there if you find that you have something raised. That can help. So once that had completely dried, Pinterest, you can just search free printables, free spring printables, free Easter, free birds, whatever it is that you like, and see what comes up. I like to print mine on rice paper with my inkjet printer. You can print on regular printer paper. It's a little bit trickier to use regular printer paper since it can be a little bit thinner. So just be careful with how much Mod Podge or glue that you use underneath. And then I just go ahead and give that a nice coat of Mod Podge on the top, lay the rice paper over it, smooth it out you can use a brayer, you can use your hands, you can use a balled up piece of saran wrap, whatever works for you, until you get that positioned where you want it. Let that dry completely, and then I like to sand the edges to give that a nice smooth finish around the edge and tear off any excess. And since I had a piece left over that I had torn off, I decided that I wanted to go ahead and just put a little piece on the bottom of this little box. So I took that water, works really good with a paintbrush on rice paper to tear it, or even regular paper. Tear out the part that you want. Go ahead, do the same thing on the side with the Mod Podge, and then let both of those dry. And here you can be all finished if that's the style that you like, very cottage, but I like mine to be a bit more vintage looking. So I did take a mixture of antique wax and clear wax with a paper towel and just mostly hit the edges of that, and then wipe it back with that to just make that have the look that I prefer. That's personal preference. And then that is all I did to this box. I didn't feel the need to spray it or anything, since it's just going to be a piece of decor in the house. But if you wanted to, you could always spray poly or something over the top of it. So for free or less than $1 probably, if you purchase a piece of rice paper, I think that came out adorable. Also makes a wonderful gift. Taking me on to item number 2, which is also a dump find for me, but clearly you could find this at a yard sale or a thrift shop. And this is just a black tray, a little bit of a leather pleather edging, and then it has a fabric bottom with the crown. Not a fan of the crown personally, and don't have a lot of black in my home, so I happen to have a color very, very similar to this drop cloth color, and I just went ahead and blotched, kind of sponge painting, so to speak, over here and there over the crown to get the bulk of it covered, just so that I could go from there and see what I wanted to do once I had erased that. And then I did decide to go ahead and cover the black with the same color, just because I wanted this color in my home. It did have that one area that probably will need to be glued down where the pleather meets, but one full coat of this is a latex paint, covered this well, and I did obviously inside and around the edges. Once that was completely dry, I took out my stamps and I just wanted to add a little bit more of the script stamp to one section of it and also a crockery stamp. And then I decided what would go sort of in the center section here. I had several options from my IOD stamps. The rooster is obviously always cute. I love, love, love the little rabbit. I also have this not IOD. I forget who this is. This stamp here with the two birds, and I liked that as well, but ultimately decided that the best fit was going to be the rabbit. And then I did decide that I wanted to once again distress this, so I pulled out that same mixture of the waxes and a paper towel and just went around, some on the outside edge, some on the actual tray bottom, to make this look a little bit dirtied, antique-y looking, and just give it some age and kind of make it blend a little better with some of the other parts that had already sort of had a bit of an antique look to it before I started. And then once that is completely dry, then I took out my polyurethane. Now, I thought I waited long enough for the ink to be completely dried because I did not just want to poly the edges where the paint was, but I also wanted to poly the actual tray bottom because the fabric had some shiny, some antique-y, some normal fabric. I kind of wanted to make that all cohesive by giving it all the same poly finish, which has a little bit of a shine to it. Will also protect if somebody puts a drink on this. And so that unfortunately did smear some of the ink while I was doing it because it does take quite a bit longer for ink to dry on fabric. Ultimately just sort of added to the look of what I was going for. So here it is by itself, just standing up, and then also with a little bunny on it and some greens, and I think it's sweet. And that takes me on to my next one. I had this little rice paper bunny happy Easter sign from a ways back, and I had some flowers left over on it. And I also had these two little pieces of trim board from when we had done our wainscoting in our dining room over. So I just wanted to go ahead and use that up while I had those two pieces out, and also while I had my polyurethane out. Now you can Mod Podge or you can use poly on like decoupaging. Either one of them work really well. So I just went ahead and used the water trick to go ahead and tear the edges. I like that rough edge look. Use the poly underneath and then on top of the rice paper, just gently smoothing out any of the wrinkles with the paintbrush. And that was all I did there until that dried. Then I went ahead and sanded the edges a little bit and used the same antiquing wax. That's a total personal preference thing. Some people just like it as is. Some people like it with the antiquing wax. It depends on the look that you're going for. And those are just cute little shelf sitters or little tier tray sitters. And I thought that added a little something to my little vignette. Here it is with and without the antiquing wax, so you can see what your preference is. And let me know in the comments. I'm actually curious as to how many people prefer it and how many people do not. And here they are with the little box that we made and the tray that I made a video a couple weeks back, and the florals that I got from Temu. Here it is with the bunny tray behind it. And also a little bunny that I've had hanging around. And then here's a different bunny with some carrots. So I think that those came out really sweet, very springy, almost Eastery. And then the last thing is this little teacup that I got at Goodwill for, I don't know, maybe 50 cents. I got two of them, and I love the color. And I thought this would be really cute just to do a little something for Easter. It would be a really cute place setting if I had 6 of them. I have a number of items in my entry that have this pretty blue-green color. I collect these little tins. I thought it would be cute with that. And so I am going to leave it in here just for the season. And I'm not sure what I'll do with the second one, but I would love to know which of these were your favorite today and what your Easter plans are. So I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for stopping by. Until the next time, I hope you get some spring weather, and I hope I do too. Take care.